Welcome back, students, in online classes of social science with a new chapter of history. It is chapter number 2, the establishment of company power. In some books, its name is From Trade to Territory, but most of the topics covered under this chapter are common in all the books. Now I am going to start the chapter, but one thing I would like to say to my learners: listen and notice everything very carefully because I will ask you some questions from the topic and you have to answer them. I will give you some questions in the last slide so you can answer them, and you can note down in notebook also. You can prepare notes also, and this chapter is very long, so I have made it short. Only the important points I have included here. So let us start. In this chapter I am going to cover the following points: arrival of trading companies, trade and conquest of Bengal, battle of Plassey, battle of Buxar, concept of dual government, the subsidiary alliance, Carnatic wars, policy of doctrine of lapse, and last one, setting up a new administration. So we will discuss on these points today. From ancient period, India was very rich in minerals and agriculture resources. Voyagers and explorers from European countries who traveled through India found that the cost of various useful items here were so low that they could cover up the cost of transportation as well as earn a huge profit. First meaning should be clear so you can understand. Voyagers means the people those who are going on long journey through the ships. They are known as voyagers or explorers. The first person, Vasco da Gama, he was a Portuguese, discovered a sea route to India in the year 1498. Very important point, note down. Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was the last Mughal emperor of India. After his death in 1707, Mughal governors and big zamindars formed many small regional kingdoms. Now they were fighting for the expansion of their territories. Same time, the European setting footholds on Indian soil. The various European countries who had interest in India were the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese, and the British. Spain and Danish travelers also traded with India, but at a much smaller scale. But most important trading companies were the French and the British. Portuguese. The Portuguese were the first traders who established their trading company in India around 1510. We remember in which year Portuguese established their trading company? Students, 1510. They established trading centers in Cochin, Goa, Daman, etc. Their headquarter was Goa. They were doing trade for cotton, indigo, and saltpeter. In 1580, Portugal became a part of Spain. At that time, only Goa, Diu, and Daman were left in their possession. In the last, I have given you some notes also, which are the important points I have mentioned there. In 1498, Vasco da Gama of Portugal discovered the new sea route from Europe around Africa to Port of Calicut in India. The trading centers were called factories. Why they were called factories? Because of the officials of the company working there were called factors. Next one were Dutch. The Dutch were the next after the Portuguese. They reached to India in 1602. They established their trading centers at which place? Surat, Ahmedabad, Machilipatnam, Cochin, Patna, etc. But this company declined due to overstress of Dutch government. They also succeeded in turning the English out of Ambonia. Note down, this is very important point. Ambonia, one of the Spice Island in 1623. Now the next one are the Danes. Danes Trading Company belonged to Denmark. From which country? Denmark. It was established in India during 1620. Its main trading centers Serampur and Tanjore, because it could not establish in India for a long time. They could not find a foothold in India, and finally they sold their settlements in India to the British government's hands in the year 1845 and left India. The British East India Company was formed on 31st December 1600. Its formation is in 1600, and first time British company ships landed at Surat in 1612. Important centers Machilipatnam, Madras and Surat were the main trading centers of the British East India Company. They established their fortified factories in metropolitan cities. Fortified means high walls around the factories, so that no one could see what is happening inside the factory. So in Madras, St. George 1639, in Bombay 1668, and in Calcutta Fort William 1698. One important note is here also, Sir Thomas Raw obtained Farman from Jahangir in 1615 for the trading. The French were very powerful. The French East India Company was formed during 1664. Formation, be careful, formation and the year of establishment both are different. In 1667, Surat. Trading centers were Balasore, Surat, Mahe. Headquarters was Pondicherry, and its Director General was Francis Caron when it was established in India. It had its naval base in Indian Ocean in Mauritius and Reunion Islands, which were far away from India. Yet they were only rival of the British in the region. Means no other rivals left in India in front of the British except the French. Trade and conquest of Bengal. In couple of years, East India Company obtained zamindari rights over 3 villages, and one of them was Kalikata, which later on grew as Calcutta, and now it is known as Kolkata. The trade and commencement of expansions by East India Company led to a famous Battle of Plassey in the year 1757. One important note here also, that's why I have given, so you can prepare notes easily and you can complete your full chapter here. Plassey gets its name from Palasi, which was a place on the banks of Bhagirathi River, about 150 km north of Calcutta. Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey took place in 1757. Remember this, between the Nawab of Bengal, Sirajud-Dowla, and East India Company. Because company wanted to control over Bengal, as it was very fertile area. All kinds of crops are growing over here, and at the same time, at that time, it comprised of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. Now the regions of conflict. But before telling the regions of conflict, I will ask you some questions, what I told in the beginning of the chapter. So, first question, I am going to ask you, who was the last Mughal emperor of India? I think most of you got the answer. So you can note down this answer in your notebook, and when the school will reopen, you can show me. I will check your answer sheet. Next question is, when did Vasco da Gama discovered a sea route to India? I mean to say, in which year? You have to told the year. Next is, why was Dutch East India Company declined? This thing also I cleared when I was telling about the Dutch East India Company. What was the next question is, what was the headquarter of French Trading Company? Any guess? I think you got the answer. So note down everyone. And last question, when was the Battle of Plassey took place and between whom? It is just in front of you on the screen. But learn and make notes for a good preparation. Now come back to the chapter, regions of conflict. Misuse of royal farman, fortification of factories, and disrespecting of the Nawab. First I will clear misuse of royal farman. In 1717, company had received a royal farman from Mughal Emperor Farooq Siyar to trade without paying any duty or tax. But the company official neglected it and started private trade without paying tax. First thing. Next is fortification of factories. British started fortification of the factories without the permission of Sirajud-Dowla. Next is disrespecting of the Nawab. They started to write arrogant and disrespectful letters to the Nawab. Result, the Battle of Plassey. Lord Clive, a British official, entered into conspiracy with Mir Jafar. He promised him to make him Nawab. After this battle, he was commander-in-chief in Nawab's army. The company won the Battle of Plassey. Sirajud-Dowla fled from the battlefield. After some time, he was captured and killed by the British. Mir Jafar appointed the Nawab. Now he was very happy. After that, he offered a large sum of gift to the company because company helped him to make the Nawab. It led to the conquest of Bengal and paved the way for the British rule in India. It was the beginning of the British rule. But you know, British were very clever. The company wanted to expanding trade in India. Actually, it was not interested to take over administration of the territories. So the company removed puppet Nawab Mir Jafar very shortly, and in place of Mir Jafar, now Mir Qasim was appointed as the Nawab, and he was the son-in-law of Mir Jafar. But Mir Jafar was, but the Mir Jafar was very clever. As you know, Mir Jafar was very clever. Mir Jafar was very clever. Mir Qasim was very clever. Mir Qasim was now thinking very shortly British would removed him also. So Mir Qasim united Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II and the Nawab of Awadh Shujaud Dawla. Their combined forces fought the British forces at Buxar on 22nd October 1764. Underline and note down anywhere. The British won the battle and Mir Qasim was overthrown and Mir Jafar was reinstated. Reinstated means got back the position. Result, Mir Jafar was died in 1765 and his successor handed over powers to the British company. Awadh was restored to Shujaud Dawla. In return, he gave the district of Kora and Allahabad to the company. Shah Alam II also granted the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha to the company, and in return he got the tribute of 26 lakh per annum in exchange of it. Concept of dual government. This concept was introduced in Bengal by Lord Clive in 1765. This entailed a division of powers of governance between the Nawab and the company. The law and order was under the Nawab and the revenue and military was under the company. As the British were very clever, they wanted only the resources and money from India. They were not interested in ruling the territories. That's why they adopted such type of concept. This system was abolished by Lord Warren Hastings in 1772. So underline everyone and you can note down also. Students, next is the subsidiary alliance. It is also very important because many times questions had come in the examination related to this topic. So Lord Wellesley 1798 to 1805 followed the policy of expansion of British power in India, and he interested into alliance with the various Indian rulers. But what was the conditions? The treaty means Sandhi in Hindi. So the treaty was negotiated on following conditions. First, Indian rulers accepting the subsidiary alliance recognize company power as paramount. Paramount means no other powers is powerful or acceptable as the British power. Number 2, Indian states had to maintain British army within its territories and had to pay for its maintenance. Third, British resident was stationed in the court of the Indian states. Fourth, as a part of alliance, company had to protect the Indian states against any external aggression. First three conditions you look, means all were in favor of the British. So now let us see about the Carnatic Wars. First Carnatic War. Carnatic Wars are very important in the history. So the first Carnatic War was fought under the French Governor General Dupleix with the British in 1744. The British were defeated by the French and they captured Madras, which was a British possession at that time. I told in the beginning that the French company was also very powerful. But why? Because Governor General Dupleix was there. He was very brilliant. Now the Second Carnatic War. What happened? The Second Carnatic War was fought over the issue of successor to the throne of Hyderabad and Carnatic with the British. This time the French defeated by the British and Dupleix was recalled to France. This war was ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry signed in 1754. One question is coming out here. When was the Treaty of Pondicherry signed? In which year it was signed? 1754. Third Carnatic War and last Carnatic War. The Third Carnatic War was fought in 1763, and in this war the French were defeated and the Nizam gave the English the northern Sirkar to the French, and they lost all their position in India, and a peace treaty was signed in AD 1763 between the French and the British. Now move to the policy of doctrine of lapse. Very important policy. Lord Dalhousie, very famous British person, started the policy of doctrine of lapse to annex Indian states like Satara, Nagpur, Jhansi, Udaipur, Sambalpur. And under this policy, if the ruler of any state died without leaving any heir, you can say means son, without son, his state would lapse to the British company. This formula, this policy was made by whom? Students, anyone can tell? Lord Dalhousie. To annex the states, because he knew very he knew everything, how many states at that time are not having their own heir. Setting up a new administration. East India Company was a private company and its aim was to increase its profit to strengthen its hold over India. And to regulate the company's activities, British government passed the Regulating Act of 1773. Regulating Act. Now let us know about this act also. Very important act, and note down the year also. Governor of Bengal became the Governor General of India. To help the Governor General, Council of Members were to set up and decision was taken by the majority. And first time Supreme Court was set up at Calcutta. The director of the company were required to place before the ministry of all correspondence related to civil, military and revenue matters to India. These are the features of the Regulating Act of 1773. Now the next one is Pitt's India Act. This act was passed to overcome the shortcomings of Regulating Act. Regulating Act was earlier passed, but some shortcomings were there. So, to overcome from these shortcomings, this act was passed. For political purposes, the company was placed under the British government now. And Governor General was given the power to overrule the advice of the council. The company retained the monopoly over Indian trade. And finally, by Charter Act of 1833, company came under the Board of Control. So, you have learned many things related to this chapter, the establishment of company power. Now I am asking you some more questions. So first question, when was the Battle of Buxar held? Very important question. Next, who introduced the concept of dual government? I will give all these questions in the last slide also, so you can Write down these answers, these questions answers in your notebook. Who was the Governor General of French Army during the First Carnatic War? I told you. During First Carnatic War, who was the Governor General? On which issue Second Carnatic War fought? Means you have to only tell the reason. I am not giving you any short question or long questions. Only objective type questions I am asking you. Why was Pitt's India Act passed? So I think you noticed each and everything, and now I'm moving to the last slide where some questions what I asked you I have given. So you have to write down these questions answers. So it is sufficient for today. Thank you everyone.